Diet, frequency, or how often you should eat. 3 meals a day is the standard. You know, your breakfast, lunch, and dinner is pretty much universal around the world. The composition of those things in different cultures varies, obviously, and I'll get into that later. The frequency, I think, depends more on your lifestyle. If you're a really fit person and you do a lot of physical exercise, you're a laborer, you might want to eat more frequently. There's no limit, basically, to how many calories you can put in your system if you're doing a very high level of exercise. So it really does depend on your lifestyle. Does frequency make a difference? I don't really think so. I think when you're growing up and you're a kid and you're active and you're growing and your body uses a lot of minerals and nutrients. So I think if you're exercising a lot and you're healthy, you should be able to eat quite a lot and as much as frequently as possible. Within reason, of course. You don't want to just sit there eating non-stop all day, but very few people actually do. And I'll talk about why that is with hormones later in the diet series. So really, if you're young, eat food. Eat food as much as you want. Exercise though as well. It's the balance that you need to be finding. Obviously the composition of what you're eating is important as well, and I'll go into that in further videos. Obviously I'm not talking about sitting down and eating chips and candy all day. That would be ridiculous. So frequency is important. The more energy you use or burn rather from exercise, the more you find you might have to eat. If you're younger and you're sitting around and not doing so much, you might find that 3 meals is enough. If you're older and sitting in an office job or really not being that active anymore, there's a lot of people who are fans of the OMAD or 1 meal a day diet, which means that you're only eating once a day, and that could be enough for you as well. The composition is important of your diet, and that's what I'll get into in future videos. But it's something where people used to always say you should always eat breakfast. I think that's not necessarily true. I think as a child it probably is. Up until you're fully developed, let's say 18 to 25, I think you should probably be eating more than less, provided that your exercise is in check and you're doing at least the bare minimum, which I'll talk about in other videos in exercise section, which could just be walking. So that's about it. We're talking about the frequency or how often you should eat part of the diet. It is pretty common for people to have the 3 meals per day, the standard view. You eat breakfast, you have lunch, you have dinner. That's fine, especially when you're growing up. You should really not hold back as long as you're doing your exercise as well. 3 meals a day is fine, and you can really, as I'm living proof of, you can eat quite a lot and stay lean. You're growing, your body needs a lot of energy, especially proteins to grow and develop. You need a lot of vitamins and minerals when you're growing. So really, if you're young and you're fit and you exercise, then 3 meals a day is fine, and possibly more. Whenever you feel hungry, basically. It does change from person to person. Genetically, we are all different. Some people are harder to fill up, basically, based on their hormones. So 3 meals a day is fine. As I have in the point underneath, it also depends on your lifestyle. So if you're a very active person, you love outdoor sports, you spend a lot of time doing a lot of high intensity activity, rugby players, soccer players, tennis players, swimmers, you name it, like so many professional athletes really burn a lot of calories. So you may need to eat even more frequently. I know people that spend all day eating as athletes, so it does depend on your lifestyle. In the same token, if you're not a very active person, you're a bookworm, you love science and you love sitting at home on your computer, you might find that you only have your 3 meals a day as a kid, or 1 meal a day like I do as an adult, and maybe just have some small snacks in between it. I definitely think that there's evidence pointing towards that that's actually healthy. The old myth, I would call it now, that it's unhealthy not to have breakfast or to skip breakfast, I think is just perpetuating that the view that we have to eat a complete breakfast complete with Kellogg's and cereals and whatnot. I think a lot of it again comes from marketing. So I will make some more points regarding this in upcoming videos. Does frequency make a difference? Sure, it does. Basically, from what I was saying, that the hormonal structure of the human body means that our body responds to hormonal changes based on the frequency of us eating. So